On April 7th this year, the United States Navy 7th Fleet issued a statement claiming that its warship John Paul Jones has entered the exclusive economic zone, Indian waters 130 nautical miles west of Lakshadweep, without prior consent from India. Well, this raised a very serious diplomatic questions and also questions on the foreign policy position of Government of India. So, United States claims that its actions are consistent with the international law. So, it refers to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Surprisingly, United States has not ratified even this UN convention. This convention took place in 1982 and India ratified it in 1995, and the United States has not even ratified this UN convention. Still it talks about the international law, still it claims that its actions are inconsistent with the international law. But what does the Indian law say? Indian law clearly says any non-military warships or submarines are allowed innocent passage in Indian territorial waters or India's exclusive economic zone. So within our waters, any foreign ship can enter, provided it is a non-military warship or non-military submarine. And that should be called an innocent passage. What do you mean by innocent passage? There are no weapons on it, there are no explosives on it, and the passage will not disturb the peace, security and challenge the sovereignty of India. So such navigation into the Indian waters is allowed as per the Indian law. But the United States claims that even its warships can enter any nation's waters. Well, US has been doing this to China. So, but China is an adversary of United States. On the contrary, India is an ally. Interestingly, this comes 2 days after Quad Virtual Summit. Quad refers to Quadrilateral initiative where India joined US-led anti-China axis. Quad includes US, Japan, Australia and India. And these four nations are joining hands in this Indo-Pacific region. This region was earlier called as Asia-Pacific. US, in a bid to lure India into its anti-China axis, renamed this region as Indo-Pacific as a matter of recognition to the strategic importance of India. So the Quad is in response to China's aggressive claims and especially aggressive maritime claims. So India is a part of the Quad. Quad Virtual Summit has taken place and the US Defense Secretary visited India 2 days before this particular event occurred, and the Quad leaders are expected to meet in person also later this year. So when India is increasingly getting into the strategic embrace of US, we have become a strategic ally of US, how can America take such a provocative action? Well, America says that this is not the first time it has been doing it. It is true. For several years, United States warships have been violating Indian law and entering into the Indian waters. But what is new this year is, these navigations were done silently and they did not get the global notice. And this time they not only publicly announced it, publicized their actions, but the language used in the statement is highly objectionable. What does the US Navy say? US Navy says that this navigation, this act is aimed at asserting the American freedom of navigation operations, aimed at checking India's excessive maritime claims. It describes India's law as an excessive maritime claim, and it says its actions, its John Paul Jones warship entering Indian waters is aimed at checking India's claims. India is not an adversary to America. India is a strategic ally of America. So how can America treat India like China? In fact, in South China Sea, US is doing the similar thing to China. Well, US allies have disputes with China like Japan, Philippines and Vietnam. Chinese maritime claims are disputed by these countries. Well, America is using these disputes to enter into South China Sea and enter into the Chinese waters. Well, China has been protesting it. But there is no such adversarial relationship between India and US and India with its maritime neighbors. So there are no disputes between India and its maritime neighbors. So why should American ship take a provocative entry into the Indian waters? And why should America violate Indian sovereignty? Surprisingly, these are the questions which need to be asked by any self-respecting nation. But what is the response of Government of India? Very mild response. It says, we have noted, we have monitored the John Paul Jones passing through the Indian waters. So what did you do? Why monitoring? We have conveyed our concern to the United States. As per Indian law, warships cannot enter military maneuvers in Indian waters are prohibited. So this is what India stands for. This is the statement of Indian government. Do we expect this should be the statement? What is the American statement? American statement says, when its ship entered Indian waters, the American Navy says, it is asserting freedom of navigation of operations to check excessive maritime claims of India. If Indian warship enters American waters, will America respond in a similar manner? If Indian warship enters waters of American allies, will America respond in a similar manner? So surprisingly, the reaction of United States administration is very, very aggressive. On the contrary, Indian reaction is muted, very mild and and explanatory in character rather than interrogative nature. So the time has come for India. We need friendship with America. America is a very valued ally. There is no dispute about it. We need America, but America also needs India. So today, by joining American military alliance against even our enemy will not benefit us. This, what we have been telling this. If government of India thinks that India can fight China with American help, this experience tells us that it will never happen. America would prefer to work with China rather than India if there is a conflict between the two countries. United States lured India into the Quadrilateral Initiative, four-nation Quadrilateral Initiative against China. So, but interestingly, United States has better trade relations. Not just United States, US, Japan and Australia. The other three members of Quad have better relations with China than India. So they want India to checkmate China. They want India to corner China, but they have better trade relations with China. So is this not hypocrisy? Today, despite serving the American strategic interest in the Indian Ocean and Indo-Pacific region, United States speaks in a language in a hostile language. So therefore, India should assert its navigational rights. India should assert its own law. India should clarify that Indian law, Indian position is very clear. We will allow any non-military maneuvers or non-military ships, not even maneuvers, any non-military ships entering Indian waters. What we call, Indian law calls it as an innocent passage. But we cannot allow Indian or foreign military ships unless a prior consent is taken. So even military ship can enter, foreign military ship, provided they communicate to Government of India and take India's consent. Surprisingly, today America says we have entered Indian waters to check India's excessive maritime claims and we have not taken any consent from India. This is what the American statement says. They are proudly stating that they have entered Indian waters without India's permission. Is this the way an ally should do it? Will your friend break the door's lock and then come into the house? Will any friend will do that? But this is what the American government has done. And Indian mild response is absolutely uncalled for. India should assert its rights, assert its sovereignty. Sovereignty is non-negotiable for any self-respecting nation.